I'm Dorothy Rowe, and the video you're about to watch is a clip from a live webinar. If you enjoy the content of this video, please like and subscribe. I'd love to hear your comments. Thank you. The heart's deepest desire is not, I'm not sure it's even articulatable. If articulatable is a word. I mean, there was a time when the heart's deepest desire could be articulated. I would say now, today, you can articulate your heart's deepest desires from past incarnations. Because once you go through an incarnation where the desire is the seed of the incarnation, and you go through the incarnation and you live out the process of integrating and expressing that heart's desire, and then you die, then it's pretty easy to look back and say, oh, this is what I was doing in that lifetime. This was the important lessons that I learned. And excuse me, more water. These are the important lessons I learned. And, you know, and this is how the divine was working through me in that lifetime. But when you're in the lifetime, you're so close to that heart's desire. It definitely is experienced more like an impulse of pure creative intelligence, to borrow words from Maharishi, because he was brilliant. Yeah, creative intelligence, like an impulse. Think of it as an impulse of knowingness or an impulse of desire, but an impulse of pure being on the rise, an impulse of pure being on the rise. So as other experiences in the causal field of creation, that heart's deepest desire tends to remain abstract, like a foundational element in the course of life's experiences. I'd say the better we can actually directly experience it, the better we're able to harness that expression in its purest form, so that that heart's deepest desire is coming forward, and it's and the life is a trajectory of its fulfillment. A lot of things happen in this subtle level of creation that evade language, which makes my job really interesting, because I'm trying to unpack everything, right? It can usually string a few words together to make it all make sense. I'm just looking at the person who asked that question and how love ties in to their personal deepest desire, heart's deepest desire, and how the importance of relationships, like the role of relationships in fulfilling that heart's deepest desire. And there's a healing or purification for the relationships at their deepest level here. That purity and softness of the mother of creation energy, like settling into all those sacred gardens where you meet those that you love. For everybody, then you become the kingpin. The lady who asked this question, or the person, let's see, is anonymous, right? Yes, so we don't know, could be a man. But anyway, the person who asked this question then becomes the kingpin for the healing for everybody in the session. All those sacred spaces where we meet the people that we love, the softness of that and purity and power of that energy of the mother of creation is moving. It's moving, it's on the move in the heart chakra, which means it's on the move in the gap here to create, it appears to create more symmetry. Oh, that's so interesting. in the field of relationships with other people. Oh, I love that. And more symmetry means that the relationship, it gets closer to source, right? Because the divisions, there's like more dividing and more dividing as we go more to the surface, and then more unity as we go closer into the source. So the more balance is becoming like a central pillar in each of those sacred spaces of relationships. But also the ability to witness for both yourself and the people that you love, so that what happens is this ability to witness, which I think was part of an earlier healing in today's session, right? And it's kind of like moving into the sacred space that you have with the people that you love, as a feature of that environment, as like a pillar or a kind of a consistent expression of intelligence, your intelligence in those relationships. And what that does is it supports your ability to spontaneously express yourself in relationships in a way that allows both you and the person that you love to witness your experience with each other and to witness your relationship. And that's just so important, to not be gripped, right, by any way little things that happen, because things always happen no matter how much you love someone. There are always going to be those moments where there's some little misunderstanding or something. So this balance, so like kind of like the balance of power, right, the power structure, or the degree to which each person is contributing, it's like more fair. And then also that witnessing ability. And I love how the witnessing ability comes in as a way of honoring the mother of the universe, because that mother of the universe kind of stands above and beyond everything, right? The shift, I'm smiling because the shift is happening in the gap, and it's so sweet. It's so pretty. It's so beautiful. It's so good for the world on so many levels, because that type of shift in your relationships with the people you love then will propagate out to other, oh, yes, good, to other relationships with other people. And this, you guys, is also an antidote. It's also an antidote for the sometimes, and this is something I've been working with in the last week or so, couple of weeks, as I continue to do research into the pandemic, into I can't say certain words on YouTube, but into some of the circumstances around that whole issue of people getting sick and getting better, getting sick and getting better. And one of the principles here is that so illnesses have their reality at the surface, and then they have their reality deep down inside, right? And what happens is certain proteins, whose names we will not mention, certain proteins have this tendency to fold in a way. They have self-referral folds in them. And there's a whole category of illnesses in our world caused by misfolded proteins. There's a whole category. They're called prions, I think, when they misfold. And this healing that's happening is an antidote for that. And what's really interesting, when I was doing some research into prions, is I discovered that at this time, modern medicine really doesn't have any cures for prion, for the misfolding of proteins. And that the illnesses that come out of the misfolding of proteins are really awful. And that people suffer a lot physically, and they pretty much always end in death. So that's just completely no fun. And this is an area where our world really needs some support, some energy healing support. And look how beautiful you are again. You keep being beautiful, that you, as a group, as a collective, we created this healing that's an antidote to that problem. Oh, because we see what's happening is we go down into the subtle levels and we create a structure that uh, gives rise to healthy folds. It gives rise to the place where we have relationships with other people, those sacred spaces in our heart, in the deep levels of our being, where we have relationships with other people, to structure those so that those relationships naturally, spontaneously function in a very healthy manner, very functional relationships. And it's like if you give a smile to the bus driver in the morning, then your smile goes all around the town all day, right? It's that same principle that when we have functional, healthy, happy relationships with the people we know and that we love, then what that does is it starts to propagate. And that those individuals, they look into their relationships with us and they think, oh, this is such a good relationship. Maybe I could tweak a little bit my relationship with this other person, something like that. So we're creating a wave of self-referral, uh, folding of consciousness in on its own nature in a way that optimizes the health of relationships and then propagates. That's so cool. So sweet. And it's just like nature functioning, right? It's just something that it's like there are laws of nature already present to help make that happen. Beautiful. So spontaneous. It's spontaneous, but it would not have happened if we were not in this group together doing this. It just is born of the of our relationship. Oh,